Hi guys, sorry about that. My mic was off. I was obviously off page. We're having a bit of an issue with the studio. I signed up to rent the studio. That's where we're a minute late. I do apologize. I'm trying to send out the request and let everybody know what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and start the daily affirmation and click over the page. Everybody, I hope you guys are having a good time today. I am having some issues with, obviously, we are not on Streamlabs, guys. You guys can see the app corner. Today was the last day to use Restream. I was hoping to be in labs would be good and clean, and we were unable to do so. I'm gone away from using Restream, and I am choosing to go over to Streamlabs because not only are they cheaper, but I have more access to manipulate the screen and the setup. And I do enjoy that because I would like to have, I am a multiple screen girl. I'm not sure about you guys, but I do enjoy being able to look at and um, to see and hear. Hopefully, this is better audio. I've not realized. See, I'm glad that you're going through this real quick. But right now, I'm gonna have to replace that in the screen because we are going to have to. We are going to. So I don't even want to. I don't have to do it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So, so you know, I found it. Give me a second. Get it loaded. I got it. I'm gonna tell you guys we just have it.
Welcome to Just Rant Already podcast, hosted by Mrs. Austin. Armed with a social sciences degree and a hyperfixated lens on human psychology, I've made it my purpose to decode what makes us tick, starting with myself because here's the twist. I thought I was studying other people. But in every pattern I noticed, every red flag I ignored, and every connection I chased or resisted, I was mapping out my own psychology. Every rant unwraps a new layer of life. From the emotionally raw a series of relationships. The unfiltered truth in unmasking my autism. The gloriously grudge-powered petty ASF. To business-savvy breakdowns in small business hacks. And street-level, soul-searching in the busking series. So, grab your beverage of choice, your weighted blanket, or whatever keeps you grounded, maybe a journal if you're into that sort of thing, and let's unpack the mess, layer by beautifully chaotic layer. And let's rant already.
Trigger warning disclaimer. This episode discusses sensitive topics, including childhood trauma, family conflict, abuse, manipulation, false accusations, and mental health struggles. If these subjects
My autism. The glorious
Sorry guys, I lost audio on video for a second. Somebody's watching from Facebook. Welcome, welcome.
I was mapping out my own psychology. Every rant unwraps a new
I'm not sure if I got lost audio in my ears or if I just lost audio altogether. What's going on? What is going on? Guys, give me a second. All right. Yeah, we've had to undo that and see if this is...
new layer of life.
There it goes.
Emotionally raw series of relationships. The unfiltered truth in unmasking my autism. The gloriously grudge-powered petty ASF. To in small business hacks. Street level, soul searching in the busking series. So, grab your beverage of choice, your weighted blanket, or whatever keeps you grounded, maybe a journal if you're into that sort of thing, and let's unpack the mess, layer by beautifully chaotic layer. And let's rant already.
Trigger warning disclaimer. This episode discusses sensitive topics, including childhood trauma, family conflict, abuse, manipulation, false accusations, and mental health struggles. If these subjects are distressing for you, please pause the episode or seek support as needed. Your well-being matters. Fair use copyright disclaimer. This episode may feature copyrighted material under the Fair Use Doctrine, Section 107, Title 17 U.S.C., for commentary, criticism, or education. Rights remain with the original creators. Contact us with any concerns.
Welcome to Just Rant Already. This episode, a series of relationships, is about how our connections and family dynamics shape us, especially when you grow up neurodivergent, misunderstood, and constantly navigating adult agendas as a child. What I am going to describe from here on out is how I saw and view my parental figures, and in no way, not even my biological siblings who were raised by the same parents, can compare their experiences to mine. That said, not every moment feels damaging as it is happening. Sometimes, you're too busy surviving, motivated by guilt, or just a craving for connection, to recognize that what feels like love is actually manipulation in disguise. Key terms we'll be using throughout this episode. Narcissism. A pattern of self-centered behavior fueled by admiration seeking and lack of empathy, often masked by charm but rooted in inflated self-worth. Code switching. The shift in language, behavior, or identity to match surroundings or avoid judgment, often used to navigate social expectations, especially by marginalized communities. Trauma bonding. A strong emotional tie to an abuser formed through cycles of abuse and brief relief, making unhealthy relationships feel like love. Love bombing. Intense flattery and affection used to quickly gain someone's trust with hidden motives like control or emotional manipulation. Grooming. Narcissistic abuse. A gradual process where a narcissist builds trust, then erodes boundaries to foster abuse starts. Parentified child. A child forced into adult roles, emotionally or practically, often due to a caregiver's limitations, impacting their development and self-worth. MDD, formerly clinical depression, a deep and ongoing sadness or hopelessness that affects daily life, often accompanied by fatigue, loss of interest, and distorted self-perception. By intrusive thoughts and repetitive behaviors done to ease anxiety, often disrupting life and driven by an underlying fear or need for control. Agoraphobia. An intense fear of being in places where escape feels difficult, leading to avoidance of public spaces or even leaving home. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, a genetic connective tissue disorder causing joint hypermobility, pain, fatigue, and fragile skin, managed through lifestyle adjustments. Social anxiety. A fear of being judged in social settings, leading to avoidance and physical symptoms like sweating or trembling, but manageable with support. Masking. Hiding authentic traits or emotions to fit in or avoid judgment, often used by neurodivergent individuals, but can cause emotional strain and identity confusion. CPTSD. A condition from prolonged trauma, marked by emotional instability, mistrust, shame, and identity disruption, often affecting relationships and daily life.
All right, we're going to pause it there because that was a whole lot to go through, right? Talking about narcissism, we're talking about code switching, trauma bonding, love bombing, grooming, parentified children, MDD, which is formerly known as clinical depression, now known as major depressive disorder, OCD, I think everyone knows what that is, agoraphobia, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, social anxiety, masking, and CPTSD. These are all obviously words that a 6-year-old would have seen but not understood. Again, understanding it's the difference between hearing someone and comprehending what they're saying. I can hear words come out of your mouth all day. It does not mean that I'm going to comprehend what you're telling me. And as an autistic person, I want to be able to put that into action, how I can recognize the pattern. So there's a lot of that's the code switching, is the pattern recognition that comes from code switching and knowing that there is a level of understanding that a person can have about who they are as a human being and their capabilities until they're faced with a scenario in which they're no longer feel a certain way or act a certain way. That is code switching. Again, it has to do with feeling safe and feeling capable. A lot of everything that we're going to talk about and what we're about to move into is common autistic traits across the spectrum. These are signs that I was showing from childhood that were written off or ignored, or at the time, I guess, again, this is 1989. Things about love mapping and things about understanding neurodivergent children were not even being researched, let alone questioned. The word wasn't used neurodivergent. It was addict. It was dropout. It was nothing close to a positive reinforcement being neurodivergent. So my brain latched on to the ideas and the ideals of neurotypical people. They wanted my life to be easy like theirs when they didn't understand I knew how to live their life and still be myself. So that masking definitely came into play, obviously. It caused a lot of CPTSD, caused a huge amount of social anxiety, the agoraphobia. I don't feel safe. I'm in a room right now with my back to the wall, staring at people, talking to a computer, basically myself. A few of you guys here, thank you. Again, I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to check the chat real quick, make sure nobody popped in and said something and I missed it. I do apologize if I did. Nothing but love over here. You guys are amazing. Gave shout out to Ryan. Didn't mean to give a shout out to Ryan. I did throw all the links in the chat if you guys want to go follow all those amazing human beings. I'm pretty sure that I didn't type them all in. Manda, yay! Yes, that is me. Your link should be up there a little bit in the chat. You reminded me that I had a few more to. Oh no, that's the wrong thing I'm supposed to type in. Oh, that was it wrong again. There we go, EJ. Get a little EJ in there. Amanda, I got charts up here. Let me get up here. I know I did it pretty often, pretty early. I was trying to give myself enough time to set everything up and type these in. But my access to my streaming site did not want to look. Look at there it is. I'm gonna show off. There's the link. But okay, back to what I was saying. So we're gonna start the video again, or the script again. Right now we're leaving off of what terms we're going to be talking about. So let's get to it.
Common autistic traits across the spectrum. Difficulties with social communication and interaction. Challenges in understanding social cues and nonverbal signals. Repetitive behaviors or routines. Highly focused interests or intense passions. Sensory sensitivities, over or under reactivity to sounds, lights, texture, etc. Preference for predictability and structure. Difficulty with change or transitions. Literal or concrete thinking. Unusual patterns of speech, e.g., monotone, formal, or delayed, stimming, repetitive movements or sounds for self-regulation, coordination. Difficulty forming or maintaining peer relationships.
All right. I forgot to say before I started it again. Here is where we're going straight into the script. So yes, she sounds like my customer service voice. I appreciate it. Everybody needs to understand that I am. Yes. Okay, so guys, just ignore the Streamlabs guy. The Streamlabs guy is just talking because I'm supposed to be using Streamlab and I'm not. And I'm right now, I don't even know why I put him in the timeout. He won't. Sorry, Amanda, he's being funny. So right now we're going straight into the thing. Again, this is my first go at it, and I'm just hoping that I know that I should pre-record and edit, but I just don't have it in me. This is very emotional and I really just want to get it out and done. So we're going to go ahead and start the script. I will be pausing to discuss what it is there, and I will pause to answer questions if you have any in the comments, or if you want to share, type it in there and share your experience. So we autistic people, we ADHD people, we neurodivergent people, we don't like to feel alone. And I know that when others speak up or speak over me, it's them showing me in their way that it's there, that I'm not alone, and I do appreciate it.
Some kids grow up learning that love is warm and fuzzy. I learned that love was loud, confusing, conditional, and sometimes involved being told to use my inside voice while disassociating mid-dinner. When I was 3, I could already sense the world's unevenness. I became a master at reading a room, molding myself to fit, surviving in an environment where even kindness seemed to come with strings attached. I could tell adults spun stories to suit their needs, and unfairness showed up in the most mundane ways. While other kids worried about coloring within the lines, I was already suspicious of who decided where those lines went and why they seemed to keep certain people out. I was questioning whether the world was just. Most kids start unconsciously scripting their love maps between ages 5 and 8. Ahead of the curve and tripping on my own 2 left feet as usual. This is when young brains begin developing mental models based on caregivers, emotional climate, and relational consistency, or glorious dysfunction in my case. In a neurotypical household, a child might learn that love is safe, feelings are welcome, and eye contact doesn't mean combat. Source: Center on the Developing Child, Harvard University. In my house, love looked like silence, inconsistent rules, and nepotism.
So yeah, I'm smart. I have a really high IQ, but I have difficulties. So I was already placed in the gifted program as young as 4. I was completing puzzles that teenagers couldn't complete, but I couldn't tie my shoes, and I didn't know how to hold a fork, and I refused to talk. So yeah, they put me in the gifted program. I got to hang out with a lot of other gifted kids. Um, I think the hardest part was, though, I didn't want to socialize with kids my own age. Like, I knew by 4 years old being picked on by my older sibling and cousins, that I was weird. I was always going to be weird. Just accept it. So I didn't feel safe around little kids. Little kids didn't know what safety meant. Um, I knew what safety meant. I understood. I watched. I paid attention enough to know what safety meant. So 3 and 4, I was running through fire drills in my head. How am I going to get out the window? How am I going to get from the bunk here over there without being in the middle of things? I was very much, Amanda. I love you. I was very much raised in a volatile household. My parents didn't like each other, and they definitely didn't like what me and my siblings reminded them of themselves. Again, we're in a time where adults were not adults having kids. I don't know how to explain. Like all of their parents were out working and they were being raised by different families, so they didn't want their family raising their kids. They wanted to raise their kids. They wanted to be the only people that said what the kids could and could not do. And we were teenagers, it was, please, anyone, take care of this thing. I'm tired. And yes, as a parent, I can understand that. I have 5 children, and 2 of them I'm not as close with. And I dread that, but I understand it at the same time with my no contact, with my parents. Eventually, we grow out of people in our lives. And we are 100% accountable for what we put into a relationship, as well as the other person is 100% responsible for what they put into a relationship. And that's them taking care of themselves so we don't worry. That's them making good choices in life so we don't worry. And that's what I was raised on. If you do everything you're supposed to do, then here's your reward. And if you do one thing bad, I'm taking it away. So I was raised on a very people pleasing. Amanda, I love you. I definitely felt conditional, 100% everything felt conditional. That last line is, in my house, love looked like silence, inconsistent rules, and nepotism. Neither of my parents wanted me as a child. Not, well, they did say it to my face, but I mean, I was a mirror. I knew that if I made them mad, they would do what I wanted them to do. Because if I made them mad, then if they don't do what I ask, like, I don't know, feed me, then I'm going to go next door and I'm going to tell next door my mom won't feed me, and they're going to get mad and they're going to do something about it. I learned very young that anger got people to do things. So we're going to go back into it, and here the script starts age of 5.
By 5 years of age, I was jumping up and down because I had mastered cooking spaghetti by myself. Butter noodles were all I could manage for my 3.5-year-old sibling and I, while my mother slept between dropping off and picking up my older sibling from school. Until she got a job, independence, friendships outside of the control group my father had within the church system in our small town. He lost control, she lost her mind, and by then I already knew the adults around me seemed to stretch the truth, shaping reality to fit their narratives and leaving me wary of the boundaries they set. As I got wiser, survival meant learning to adapt quickly. By 6, I'd grown tired of quietly accepting things, so I started using reverse psychology, pushing boundaries just to see who would respond. I confided in anyone who seemed open to help, teachers, police, social workers, repeating what I'd heard at home, especially my father's relentless phrase, "I'm not your father."
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there, because that was a lot. We're talking about being 5 years old and making dinner. We're talking about, like I said, the nepotism. My mother and father praised my older sister and babied my younger sister. I was very hyper independent. I'm taking accountability now as a 3, 4, and 5-year-old. I knew how to put my own clothes on. I knew how to put them on where they didn't bother me with my sensory issues. I knew how to get my sister to stop crying. And it definitely wasn't yelling at her. I remember fixing her shoes because she has sensory issues as a kid, and being able to get her off and around, and she'd be perfectly content once you fixed her problem. And again, I remember needing my parents for things that I didn't think were not normal. Behaviors, obviously, you shouldn't need your parent to remember to feed you. You definitely shouldn't need to remind your parent that you need toothpaste, or you need body wash, or you need toilet paper. These, I grew up, were not basic necessities in our household. They were taken away from me if I didn't follow the rules. And again, not following the rules as a teenager, which we'll get to in the next podcast, is based on being defiant and using what information I had against my parents to manipulate them like they did to me. We're back at it.
My biological father and I did not get along. From a young age, due to my pattern recognition, it was easier to read my father's intention. As a narcissist, his code switching and charisma went hand in hand. I knew if he wanted attention from others to stay positive and pay off for him, he had to stay the cool dude in the room. I used this to my advantage, stealing food and giving the fact we had none at home for that reason. This shame grew to benefit me with heavy physical abuse as the consequence I repeatedly chose to bear. I would call him out on his lies in public. One day I witnessed my dad beat someone up for talking bad about him in public. Someone repeating something I had once said myself. He sent that guy to the hospital. My dad lied and said the guy stole something from him. By the time I was 8, I was afraid to leave the house in fear someone would cause me harm on behalf of my father's gang affiliation. You see, my father was in charge of the youth ministry. He used this to get close to known gang members and share information that would allow them to continue their business with his protection. He explains he did this as a teenager, had to leave Hawaii because he caused harm to the grandson of a very important person. During all of these interactions, my father never realized I was listening. That I was cataloging all the information they shared, as well as the stories he told. I kept the lies hidden, the truth ignored, and was always on the lookout for my escape. I wanted nothing more than to be out of underneath my father's control. His impulsiveness and lack of empath disgusted me. It was everything my big sister was.
So here we get into what is correlated, after the age of 8 becomes, so you guys know, there's a ton of research out there. I don't need to fact check myself at this point, but because there is a source in here that are listed when it comes to the discussion we're about to have. But love mapping happens between 5 and 8 years old. That is where we learn who our support, what support is. We learn what love is. We learn the majority of our anger and empaths. We learn things about what our preferences are, about who we as individuals, and I never lost sight of that. I always knew what it was that I wanted to be on the inside, and I was a caretaker, so I have to be a teacher. I'm a caretaker. I have to be a social worker. I'm a caretaker. I'm emotional. I'm barely emotionally equipped to care for my own emotional self. I need a body doubling partner. That's my husband. My husband is my body. We parallel play all the time. I will sit and I will do all of this and let my 132 IQ run wild with all of my research into why I am the way that I am. My husband, on the other hand, needs it practically. He needs to see, how is this physically harming me? We learn 2 different ways. I'm not capable of riding 2 scooters, one on each foot down a hill and not eat crap. My husband can, and I find it amazing. I find it absolutely, just watching him make me laugh gives him so much joy that it brings me joy. That he is just the goofiest person, and he takes me out of my huge, he takes me out of the feeling that I need to be proper and professional, and I'm the brand and the face of my father, that he taught me that it was okay to love a man. Love a man, period, in the sense of to lay myself down and say, I'm yours, no one else's. You can tell me what to do and I will actually listen. These are all things that I learned about myself, but only after the fact, only after finding out who I was deep to my core. What are the things I could not stand about myself? And to come to this very moment in this paragraph that I'm about to share, is the number one of it all. And I want to let you guys know that this is, again, trigger warning. There's a lot of trigger warnings in just this paragraph and a half. I apologize if you are triggered, but please go take care of yourself. Please take a break. I should probably be taking a break right now, but I did not bring water. So I'm trying to get through this. I have an hour from right now to get this done. So I appreciate you guys for bearing with me.
By 8 years old, I was a full-time parentified child. Not just a latchkey kid, making meals and babysitting younger kids too. I was responsible for keeping to rules I didn't quite understand, passing on reactive abuse tactics used to keep me in line at their age. While our parents lived it up in the backyard, drinking their first marriages under the table and passing around their current relationship like a joint. During the separation and custody case, CPS workers visited often, but after a while the adults in power, law enforcement, school counselors, therapists, stopped listening. They questioned how they could allow a 6-year-old to testify, but never why my mother was painted as unstable. My dad lied to me, telling me my mother didn't want to be our mom anymore, and soon after, she was gone, labeled mentally unstable after hundreds of CPS complaints. It was later revealed many were false, orchestrated by my father and his social circle. People I was forced to babysit for. Being called a freak for being too quiet, being called a liar for being too loud. This early trauma, neglect, invalidation, abuse, or even persistent misattunement isn't just a sad backstory. It rewires your brain, slaps a funhouse mirror over love, and hands you a decoder ring that's missing half the alphabet. Trauma taught me. Love might arrive, but it will be conditional. Emotional regulation is for people with consistent parental hugs, and safety is a luxury because predictability is God. Source: Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. The body keeps the score. Dr. Bruce Perry, what happened to you?
Those are great reads. Again, this script will be available off my Substack. I will open it. I was going to leave it paid, but I feel like this is a pretty strong background, and it definitely gives you guys my origin story of where I came from and why I am the way that I am. And why I'm so ruthlessly and literally positive, honest. I go out of my way to see the happy in everything, because there's always a left, right, and middle. There's always a he, her, and they saw parts of the story. And I know that most of this, what I want to come out of this podcast is the amount of accountability that I'm holding for myself, but at the same time that I can lay a lot of this down, and I can definitely feel like I've made my last stand. I've said what I needed to say, and then I can walk away knowing that this person is no longer going to be able to scream his side of the story, and the next person and the next person, because the first few of these podcasts are very much centered about me and my core memories and the core values and ethics and morals that I learned in life that were manipulated and just trash human beings, ruined parts of who I could have been, and just them having the 20 years over the top of my head, knowing that it took me that long to find who I truly am and to keep staying present in my space, because I'm allowed the space that I take up. I do not have to make myself smaller for people in rooms who don't live up to their own potential. I should not feel guilty for living up to my potential and going further than I ever expected that I could. That supporting other people when they're down is not a sign of weakness. No, I love your face too. That being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. That it's a sign of strength, because I'm still here. And I refuse to shut up. And I'm gonna keep holding the space that I hold so that others can come out from the storm and others can have the respite, the rest that they need and the break that they need and the support that they crave, because they deserve it, regardless of their past. No, I love you. Back to the script, guys.
The abuse was parroted by my older sister, her friends, and even her enemies. I was outcasted for having boundaries. Leave me out of it, I won't bring up your secrets. Everyone in my small town left me alone. I was content with it. My head was down and my future was in sight, until middle school and my foster family felt I needed a social life. The downfall of my self-confidence begins here. My curiosity became my way to cope. Instead of asking hormonal-driven teenage zombies, I dove into books about psychology and mental health. My mother, being diagnosed bipolar and schizophrenia, she had books on the matter around the house since I was a baby. Of course, this was the late 80s, early 90s, so doctors ignored any symptoms of Asperger's or ADD or OCD or MDD in women. The labels others pinned on me, "You're too much, too distracted, too disruptive," never truly fit the story without context. I realized I wasn't broken. Instead, I was learning to navigate a world determined not to speak my language. The concept of a love map was coined by Dr. John Gottman in 1999. Basically, an internal GPS for how we seek and interpret love. Gottman studied why couples fight about dishes but stay for the dog. Assigning ownership to some but obligation to others in relationships. This information would have been helpful in my search for understanding. Later in life helped link many more traumas to triggers so that I could heal through them in a positive way. Gottman believed our earliest emotional experiences become blueprints for how we love, fight, attach, and eventually ghost others later in life.
And again, Gottman didn't come into my life until 2024. It was basically love mapping was a way for the de-escalation classes that I was taking in my police academy. Was talking about how Gottman states that most people in mental health episodes have been in some form or way triggered, that the majority of addictive substances out in the world these days are used for coping for, and then it goes into a lot of this. That's when I heard about Gottman, was through addiction services and social work. It had nothing really to do with the early childhood education that I had gone through. Again, that didn't start until 2014. No, I'm sorry, 2009 was when my early when I started my early childhood education at College of the Siskiyous. So I didn't pay attention to love mapping. Love mapping was such a baby thing. I believe that. I love you. It was such a small understanding. Love mapping is a sense that, like it says, an internal GPS. So it tells you, like when you grow up as a kid and you're like, I love that, I love that, I love that. And that one kid in class is like, you say love a lot. Or that one lady, it's like, you can't love everything. No, really, I can. I have a big heart. I promise. And that's the petty in me, is telling someone, no, you're right. And they go, wait, I'm right. And I'm like, yeah, you guessed it. You're totally right. And I'm being sarcastic, and everyone else knows I'm being sarcastic, but this person is playing a joke on themselves, because I'm constantly feeling left out. And I was like, no, I don't like it when people do that. So I tend not to do that. I tend not to tell you, yeah, that's true, unless it's true. Amanda saw it earlier today on TikTok. I don't put yourself in an awkward position with me, because I will tell you the truth, and it will become an awkward situation, and everyone else around me is going to be like, you heard her, right? And the person's going to be like, I did not ask for this. Well, guess what? Right. We can love what we want. My thing is, don't try to come shame me. You have no idea what's happened in my life, and you know no reason at all whatsoever why I look the way I do. The only thing you know is what I share with you. Well, this is me opening up. This is me sharing myself 100% vulnerably. And that's why I think it's so difficult with the expectations that a lot of people may have. I love you, Amanda. You're so amazing. We definitely get put into certain spaces, and we have to fight our way out. But just knowing that I have a group of people who are going to laugh at you later with me, that's just the best. That's my pettiness for all. Hey guys, go check out G. G's amazing. G and my group of Aussie friends have really helped me through a lot of this stuff too, guys. You guys, this podcast is just as much about you guys as it is about me. Listening to you guys talk about your lives and be vulnerable and share your experiences. Oh my goodness, it's just amazing. All right, guys, we're going to push play, because we do have not a lot of time and quite a bit more to get through. So let's go.
But I'm not just any map maker. I'm neurodivergent and gifted. I'm autistic with a side of CPTSD and a love map drawn by a drunken cartographer during a thunderstorm. My nervous system's on high alert 24/7, like a mall cop who's convinced the mannequins are plotting something. I don't just feel feelings, I hear them in Dolby Surround and smell them in 4K. Relationships? Yeah, I treat those like escape rooms. Clues everywhere, alarms going off, and I still don't know if the person hugging me is a warm embrace or a trapdoor. I mask like it's a full-time job with zero benefits, constantly guessing which version of me won't get emotionally evicted. And love? Love is suspicious. It once came dressed as control, fear, and abandonment, so now I triple-check its ID every time it shows up. I've got trust issues mixed with sensory overload and a dash of compulsive caretaking, just to spice things up. But hey, I'm nothing if not consistent. If chaos were a love language, I'd be fluent as a book with many different endings to choose from. We all grow out of a primal need for external validation from certain people at one point in our lives. Our parents, childhood friends, even old classmates. So instead of learning to feel love, I tried to understand it. I watched, analyzed, over-intellectualized, and played relational Jenga until the whole thing fell over, then took notes.
And this is me now. This is what I do with my life now. I have not stopped doing this since I was a preteen, which is exactly what she said. I just played interpersonal Jenga with people, and because I would realize that, a few weeks into the friendship, I thought we were besties by then, and found out that, we were besties because I did their homework. We were besties because I was prepared for class and they never were. We were besties because I knew people that they wanted to be friends with. I was the bestie of the week because I, again, knew people they wanted to hang out with. And more again will come next podcast about name dropping, but I did. I took notes, and I have so many journals. Yes, yes, and the amount of projection that goes on in the world, and the amount of people who put themselves in situations to play the victim, to play. I don't know how to explain it. You'll never catch a narcissist admitting they were wrong, which means most narcissists I know play victim, because the victim is never wrong. The victim, how dare you? Something horrible happened in my life, and I'm allowed to hold that against anyone and everyone who I deem not fitting my needs, not most people who can't help others can't help themselves, with the same concept. Never. God, I love you, Amanda. Um, they find, and the worst of it all is they don't like you because they see themselves. They see that you took their struggles and turned them into a win. And my dad met me every day at my doorstep with how I was never going to be anything more than my mother. And mind you, my mother was a crazy woman. That's all I ever knew her as. She's crazy. Everybody told me how crazy she was. I didn't think my mom was crazy. I think she said crazy stuff, but a lot of people say crazy stuff, So why would I ever think that my mother, was crazy? And then, of course, I read the book at 3, and then I was like, oh, wait, my mom is crazy. But she's not the kind of crazy that you give up on. There's a whole lot of crazy out there. I love Mr. G. He's actually live right now, guys. He's over there in the UK. Mr. Lee G on first floor. I know you have, Amanda, and I do right now want to everybody go click on her page and go follow all her socials and show her some love. Amanda bravely sat on a podcast and shared her story and just had me bawling, crying, laughing, giggling, screaming, yes, ma'am, from the beginning to the end. And oh, look who showed up. Hi, babe. I hope the dogs aren't bugging you. I probably should have let them out before I left. But Amanda, you're amazing. You show so much support, and you put yourself out there so much, and I just want to give in, and I just want to be here and be part of that circle that gives back to you, because that's how we get through this. We give back to each other. All right, back to where we are. Oh, you know what, Mr. Streamlab, hush your mouth. We're putting him back on time out, guys. So he can't. You blow that thing up. He's such a boob. I'm going to have to change that. I don't know why. Oh, you know what that's about? It's because of the orange sites. You're amazing. No, you're amazing. Amanda sounded like Oprah in her thing yesterday. She's like, you get this, and you get this, and you get this. She's like, everybody gets this. Well, that's why they're your kids, babe, and not mine. No, I'm kidding. There she is again. There's that link. Amanda, if you want me to update that link to your TikTok or anything else, let me know. That's the same link that's also on the website. Oh yeah, guys, we're supposed to be promoting that tonight. Today is the official drop for the website. Today's official website is mine, and I own it. And it is officially me. Yay. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this because we really do have like 20 minutes, and I have to shove everything in my bag and get out of this room. I love you guys. I'm gonna mute and push play, and we might have to finish off the rest of the script before I talk again. So I will pause it right before the outro.
I kept to myself, usually observing others from a distance. I was scared to break a bone because my joints hurt enough to feel broken all the time. I was scared to be the center of attention. Being put on the spot broke me. I froze. You see, I have always been surrounded by a babysitter. Another kid, another adult, some sort of supervision. My impulse control was feral level. I didn't start using 4 or more words in a sentence until I was 6. I had a really bad stutter. I would pinch, kick, bite for food with other kids until I was around 6. So, using utensils didn't come naturally until I was 8 years old. But hand me a book. Well, by age 10, I was tutoring my father in geometry while he was in college. Ironic, considering he doubted I was even his child. A constant reminder to my face and behind my back. After a medical emergency, I learned from a doctor that my rare blood type matched both my parents. My father asked for a DNA test. A letter arrived, 99.999% match. No more doubt. As I entered my pre-teens, my defiance grew. I refused to be silenced by police, school staff, or anyone who benefited from maintaining appearances. I found allies in unexpected places, punk shows, activist circles, and used whatever leverage I had to expose the hypocrisy around me. The love mapping I missed in childhood had to be built by me, often through painful trial and error. No one handed me a roadmap, I created one out of necessity. Immersing myself in research on psychology and anthropology, by 16 I dropped the mask. I documented, recorded, and spoke out about abuses ignored by authorities. My mission: prove the law should serve the people, not protect the powerful. My love map didn't come from real-life relationships. It came from patterns, not presence. Fixation, not love, and safety in systems, not people. And when I did feel love, I questioned it, turned it upside down. I tried to earn it. Because my nervous system was more familiar with survival than softness.
And that right there is what made me a very, very, very angry teenager. I was very angry. And that was when I learned how to fight. And I don't just mean, I love you, babe. You're gonna make me cry. That's why I didn't want you here. That's why I'm actually at the library. I'm hiding from my husband because he supports me so much that I can't even talk in front of him because he just wants to hug me, and I can't talk and be touched at the same time. that right there will be a whole other. That'll definitely be a paid subscriber stream only. We're definitely gonna do the spicy, sexy talk and about how the experiences that I put myself into, but that taught me a lot about who I am. And I'm so thankful for the people that were there with me through those journeys, because I did trust them, and I still trust them. And I know that those people helped me. I know that those people helped me grow into the person that I am and helped me to understand. And my husband is actually one of those people. So I giggle that he would definitely be in, that he will definitely be in that conversation and in that. And hopefully that you guys are just going to go back and forth, huh? And definitely be in the middle of that conversation. But I want to have those conversations, because I know us neurotypical people, man, some of us definitely didn't get to talk about a lot of things that we wish we could have talked about. And dropping that shame can definitely help us with our feelings. And our feelings help us, with a sexy, spicy time, being stressed out as a neurodivergent person. No. Oh, but there were some experiences in my life that I probably didn't have to live, and most of those came with shitty friends. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is talking about a series of relationships. Like, what type of people got you to where you were done? Oh, excuse me, I should have muted. Hold on. Sorry, guys, I had to spit out my gum. I'm choking on my gum over here. It is healing. Thank you, Amanda. Talking about these relationships. I'm 42 years old. Why am I still finding these relationships? How have I yet to learn? And then I have to remind myself, oh yeah, I'm too trusting. Yeah, sure, come on over. I'm so much. I will give you a chance. I will give you a chance to be yourself, and not everyone can be themselves right away. I just got off work. I wanted to be in here the whole time, but work kept me too damn busy today. But I'm off now for 5 days. LOL. Yes, he is. My husband's normal days are off are Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday. And I was trying very hard to do it on Tuesday or Thursday, because me and my husband, we have these conversations, and I love him, and I separate myself from being a wife and a mother when I have these conversations, and I am the social science, human psychology nerd right now. I'm not the wife. I'm not even I'm everybody. I want to be everybody's bestie. I want everybody to listen to this podcast and go, "Oh my gosh, I learned so much about myself and my environment, and I can't wait for more." And I want them to know, people who have been affected as children always trust too easy because we wanted to be loved and have that attention. Yes. And basically, I just want people to know, like, I can teach you how to tell your inner self to shut the fuck up. I really can. Right? I really can. I can really teach you how to tell that inner self to just shut up. Just shut up. Like, no. I would love for all neurodivergent people to see the world as I do, through the lens of human psychology, and the fact that your brain, your neurogenetic brain, isn't your personality. You are your personality. Your brain is your ego, and you are your id. You are your ID. You are who you are, and your brain is above you. Your brain tells your body what to do when you're not listening. So you have to train your brain to shut up when it shoves insecurities in your face, because a lot of those insecurities is neurologically your brain is telling you need to get up. Nightmares are because you have to pee, or because there's smoke, or there's an emergency and your body is asleep. Nightmares are your unconscious telling you to pay attention to people, to events, to scenarios that are in your life. These are conversations that I've had with top-notch book writing individuals who can't wait to be on this podcast, and I'm so excited for it. Because I'm not just bringing I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, she talks a big game." I'm ready to show you guys. I'm ready to definitely bring the facts and show the receipts and show the proof that I have been doing this type of research and I have been meeting these type of people for a very long time. And they are more than happy and more than willing and more than able to spread their wings. All they need is a little push. All they need is a coffee a month to be able to say, I'm living my dream. And that's me. I don't want anybody to quit their daydream. I don't want anybody to give up on living their purpose, which is living. I mean, in some third world countries, to us, they give them ample time and space and they give them all the resources they need to go and live out a dream, because some dreams, they do burn out, some dreams fizzle out, and they help you find your next dream and they help you find your next avenue. But without being able to have that path and have that space to live out that dream, we get complacent and we allow people and relationships to morph who we are, and after a while we forget who we are. And I don't want to be a mirror or a brick wall that you come and scream into or beat your head on to help you understand that you are you and you're allowed to. I don't want to do that anymore. Then don't. But how do I do that? How are you doing it now? Well, I'm doing this. Well, do that instead of that the same exact way. And a lot of people go, it was that easy? Well, yeah, it was that easy. Yes, constantly. We adapt. We don't know. You can have, again, life happens. And when life is lifing, you have to prioritize. And sometimes that priority list is very fluid. And we didn't learn that as a kid. I was in survival mode. I was in survive tomorrow. I was in, wow, I didn't eat today mode. I was in, no, I let my sister have that because she wanted it more than me, but I needed it. Literally, my foot was going to fall off if I didn't use it, but my sister needed it. So I didn't need to use crutches and an ankle brace anymore. She hurt her ankle, or she hurt her foot and she needed to use that. So, and this is the same person. I refuses to let me meet my niece and nephew. The same person that I cut contact with 6 years ago, 7 years ago. 6. No. 4. 4. No, but it's 5. It's 5 years. So in 5 years was my dad, and 6 years. Yes. Yes. Ooh. Amanda, I could sit with you for that one. I did CNA training, and me and my husband both have had CERT training. Him obviously more developed than mine being in the military, but yeah, I was one of those. I wanted, again, this is all about chaos management at its finest. Y'all see the ad. Let me close the overlay of the chat there. You see that chaos management at its finest. Yeah, right. And people act like it's so hard. Yes, it's hard. We do it because it's easy. Yeah, because it's healthy. Yes. Yes. Um, I definitely feel like it's a lot easier. Here's the website, guys. Grab that link, check it out, click all the buttons, try all the links, let me know how you feel, leave a comment, let me know how you feel. We're gonna go ahead and start the outro because this outro is for a second. Constantly evolving. Yes. Oh, you just made me think of a new one. It's gonna say evolve with me. Evolve with me. That's definitely going to be another one. I have to come up with 10 more stickers. 14 more stickers. So I'm trying to think of some new ones. That would be a good one though, I think. Evolve with me. I don't know. That one's a little too human psychology talk. All right, let me start the outro is a talking point. It's going to go ahead and explain next week's podcast episode, which I'm not going to lie, guys, I might actually move this to Wednesdays. I was trying to keep it on Tuesdays because Tuesday gives me enough time through the week, but I may have to. Oh, stop. Streamlabs. I'm definitely clicking that off. I'm going to have to put him in timeout again. He's not on YouTube, but I can see him on my side. let's start the rest of this video.
But also, how this simultaneously became my origin story of unmasking my autism, when I finally found the vocabulary and research to love myself, and the relief of finally feeling seen in our next episode. And as always, we'll pick up where the last fuse burned out. Time to light another and see what chaos shows up.
I don't know about you guys, but I love this outro music. Because when you come in, it's all calm and collected and quiet. You're not really getting a big party screen, but this one, I think this one is like just a little shimmying out. Because we were sad, and now we need to not be sad. And now we need to just think it out. Think it out. Right? Right? There's like a minute and a half. Show up and say that you guys care. Again, I don't know why my video has not been working this whole time. I have it set up to work with the camera. The camera is on my computer. Again, I'm not sure. Thank you so much. I know I cried a little, and I'm okay with that. And it's overwhelming, you guys caring about me and showing me love and being here and just sharing this space with me just makes me so excited and so happy. We will be on Streamlab. I will make sure that he stops spamming people for their likes, but we will be over on the Streamlab setup next time, hopefully. If not, we might have to just use this free one again, which means I cannot have more than 2 participants up here after the next 2 lives. But the next live is going to be on unmasking my autism. That one is going to be most of my teens, so my preteens. It basically leaves off. I give you guys a nice little run through from as early as I can remember, 3 to present. And present will be the busking, and we will be watching, hopefully if I get this to work, watching some busking videos. Actually, I love you too, babe. I'm so glad that that's your review, because I felt like maybe I wasn't going to be genuine enough, and that people would be like, no, I don't think that's right. So thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. And we're going to share the screen because I am going to show off the website. That's not the website. Here's the website. Sorry, why am I whispering? Because I'm weird. You guys see that? There it is, busking through the burnout. My vlog series. Busking as an ADHD musician is basically controlled chaos. If controlled means barely keeping it together while my executive dysfunction fights me every step of the way. Would be exactly why I felt the way that I felt before coming here to do this podcast. Was do anything I can possibly do, because I feel great right now, guys. The amount of stress and anxiety that's leaving my body, my nervous system is actually starting to calm down because I did it, and you guys are right, and I feel great. Back to reading. Hyperfixation on a melody, lose myself in the rhythm, and just when I think I've hit my groove, some drunk heckler reminds me that reality exists. It's unpredictable, exhausting, and occasionally absurd, but hey, at least the soundtrack slaps. Fair use for commentary, education, and critique. No profit. So this is the symbol you guys will see when I start to schedule them. It will say busking series. If it is not a topic, if it is more than likely an interview, I'm just giving you guys a sneak peek now. If it is an interview, you will not see the black hair. It will just say Just Rant Already podcast. And not everybody gets to hear that. But so you guys go to the website, and this is what you guys get to do. You guys get to hear my latest. These are my latest, like hiding in my room. These are the background. These, if you follow me on Snapchat, which I should put the, do I have it on here? I'm going to go ahead and, I know I keep telling everybody, oh, I have it. I'm going to go ahead, see where this is right here. I'm going to go ahead and add my Snapchat right here. And and I'm going to update this later on this afternoon. If you guys find anything else wrong, that's why today is the grand opening of the website. If you guys find anything wrong, some of you guys might actually have it all up here. If you don't, there's the lines, and it'll give you the homepage set up. But each one of these links should work, and they'll take you directly to my content, as well as I wanted to show Amanda. Welcome to the chaos crew of questionable productivity, where functioning is optional and showing up is sacred. About my affiliates, this isn't your average bodybuilding meetup. It's a community built for the beautifully disorganized, emotionally exhausted, and gloriously neurodivergent minds who thrive on mutual support and spiral-friendly structure. Here we replace guilt with grit, productivity with presence, and expectations with real human connection. If your to-do list is intimidating and your calendar looks like a threat, pull up a seat. You already belong. That was my favorite part to write. So you guys will see, this is my walkthrough for social media. Jean Grey here is amazing. She has some workbooks, very fantasy fiction. I love her to death. These are all three G. This is this is his foodie. His Funk and Hungry is actually very well known. I actually know quite a few Americans here because he's in Australia. I know quite a few Americans here who know him when I mention him. And this is his hobby page where he does art and miniatures of Warhammer. And then this is the live. Here is the Hyper Sapien TV. This is the live that I go on when I am on panel and hanging out. This is Stalzy. That's what we call him. Or sorry. Stalzy. This is Paul. He's just been a supporter from the beginning, and I wanted people to go and subscribe to his page because he's just amazing. He has some videos up, but he hardly ever does live. So that's why I say go sub, because if he's going to be live, you get to catch him. He's amazing. He's awesome. There's Mark. Mark is Steamroller Mark. He does Mark's Shed Talk. This is a steamroller that he is rebuilding, and I love trains. I know that's probably the most autistic thing to say in the whole wide world, but I love trains, and he is actually machining and rebuilding this in his shed, hence Mark's Shed Talk. These are Cody's pages. Cody does reviews. Cody's awesome. Cody's also in Australia, so out of the first 8, 7 of them in Australia. And then after that, you have Doug, who is in Canada, and he does voiceover, and he does a bunch of content like affirmations, and he's amazing. And then here's Charator. That's Steve. He's from Scotland. I love listening to him rant about things and talk about his life and share his experiences. He does big rig simulators. He is disabled in a wheelchair. He has an amputated left side, and he makes me laugh so much when he tells me he's half left. He makes jokes about himself, and it brightens my day because I realize that in my heart of all hearts that I'm probably just a little bit Australian, along with being autistic, because I have the same sense of humor, and I love just giving everybody a good time. This is Joanne. Joanne is also in the United States, Midwest, I believe, Central even, maybe? No, I believe Midwest. And then this is Lee G, First Floor Audio. He's the one I was talking about earlier. He's in the UK. Amanda should start recognizing some of these faces, and definitely here, there's Myrtle Jean Stitchco, guys. Here's Mandy. Here's Clint. Here is Clarissa. I just call her Chica. Here is Janae. Here is EJ. Here's Jeannie. Carol. I don't have my camera, so I can't show you guys. But if you click on Jeannie in the description below, Amanda, you should also have a link in the description below. Your YouTube. But Jeannie has a book, and I can't wait to talk to Jeannie. I love that Amanda is a RV life influencer. Amanda is living the dream. Half of my dream is to be RV life, and the other half of my dream is what Jeannie's doing and the Carroll Farms. Eventually, I want to be able to travel everywhere from farm to farm to farm and help in that farm, as well as barter some of my own things that I do: body doubling, personal shopping, scheduling, homeschool curriculum, things like that. I want to be able to travel from bestie to bestie to bestie to bestie. And then there's Angie. Angie and Shingano cakes are my adult friendly goodies. And that is the affiliates. And then we have Jose. Jose does content creation on TikTok. And then here's Dread. Dread is also one of my Canadian friends. And the reason why I have them up here is because I'm going to lose all of their content when TikTok goes, unless I follow them. But here's his link tree, both of their link trees. And then here's Lollipop Karaoke. That's where you can catch me these days, doing Lollipop karaoke. Dee and Karina and the family over there. They have been so welcoming, and they just help me girl, don't you dare, you get up here. And they just give off the vibe, and they give everything else. And then right here, you are not alone. If you ever feel like this is you click right there and it'll take you here. This is the reach out form. And you hit that consultation request fee and you type in there, no, you didn't pay the thing, we need to talk. And me and you, we'll work something out. These are my hours by appointment. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to fall behind. I want someone to find something in themselves that will help them to keep going. I've been there. I've done that. I've been in spaces where I did not want to keep going. Yes, we'd be cool like that. We'd be cool like that over here. We could link everything up. We could be able to share all of our experiences. We could still go live all on here. Plus, you do not have you have the protection, and but at the same time, you have the anonymity to do what it is that you want to do, as long as you are being obvious. This is all for education. This is all for, critique. I'm putting my life on this podcast, and I'm putting this out here so that other people can comment, so that other people can show up, who want to show up. And that's because they decide to be here for the live. When this stuff becomes paid, no, that is going to be paid. You're going to have to pay to see that, because a lot of that, again, is going to be information, and it's not going to be something just anyone can watch. And all of this stuff is set for not for kids. This is all very not family friendly talking. This is not kid friendly stuff. We are talking about, maybe 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds will want to do this, but we're going to be on here having a few drinks. We're going to be on here smoking the smoky smoke, because that's how we cope, and that's how we want to sit and we want to relax, and that's how we want to have a conversation, and that's what we're going to do. Now, you don't have to have your camera on, but there might be other adults on screen. Girl, you can go slow. You don't even have to. There's a few things that you could update on your YouTube, and then you could just start posting, just doing your shorts. Use your shorts, use your videos on TikTok as shorts or reels, and because to get monetized over here on YouTube, you have to have just as much, if not more. So definitely look into. You might be more than halfway there for TikTok and not for YouTube, but you start doing it YouTube now and build that, and you'll get it. I know that if my husband is still here, babe, you still here? My husband is the reason why I'm on YouTube all the time, because he just wouldn't give it up. I told we're hurting for gas money, and I told him, well, I can cancel YouTube, and he's no, please. Because we pay for the premium, so we don't have to watch commercials. He uses YouTube for his TV. I'm the reason why he watches, shows on Netflix or any other Hulu or Apple TV, because he watches everything. Most, if not all, of his content and podcasts and things are on YouTube. So, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it. Guys, I got to go. I got 15 minutes to get out. So I'm going to go ahead and run the end of the outro, which is going to be 30 seconds for me to say my goodbye in the chat. I love you guys. I love your faces. Thank you guys so much for showing up and being here and giving me giving me feedback in real time, because that definitely does help. I love you guys, and see you next week. Time will be posted, and I will try to share out as much as possible 3 days prior.